Hello, everyone. Welcome to Legal Darshan. In today's discussion, we are going to discuss one very good question. Okay, one very important question that a lot of you might find useful. Now, this question is with respect to maintenance. Okay, so we know that in India there are maintenance laws. Okay, whether it is Hindu law or Muslim law or any kind of law. Let's even forget the religious laws. Even the CrPC, the erstwhile CrPC, the Criminal Procedure Code, and the now BNSS, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, they mandate that a woman should be given maintenance. Not just a woman, even the parents of a person, even the children who are not able to maintain themselves, who are disabled, and they are also entitled to maintenance. So we have this whole provision with respect to maintenance in CrPC now, which is transcending into BNSS also, right? But can we deny the maintenance? Okay, generally, what we hear, what is all out in the air is that court is going to award maintenance to a wife, or whether she's a divorced wife or she is a wife who is cohabiting with the husband. Court generally favors and grant maintenance to the women. But does it mean that it can be granted always? There is no defense to it. There is no provision that bars giving maintenance. The answer is no. Okay, so we will come to one Supreme Court judgment that has been given by a bench of Justice Sanjay Karol and Justice Pancholi, and that judgment was given in the end of July 2026. The judgment is titled as Himanshu Choria versus State of Rajasthan. Okay, we will come to judgment a little later, discussing what are the facts of the judgment. But before that, let me take you through the procedure. Okay, let me take you through the provision which is there in the CrPC in the BNSS. Okay, I am using BNSS now because BNSS is the code in application, because section 144 of the BNSS, it actually corresponds to section 125 of CrPC itself. Okay, now let's look at the provision. Okay, so first of all, let's burst this myth that 125 CrPC or 144 BNSS is only providing maintenance rights to wives. Okay, no, the answer is no. Okay, because if you look at clause 1, it is telling us that the wife should be granted maintenance. Any person, please focus on the word any person. Okay, if any person having sufficient means neglect or refuses to maintain, first thing is that you have to show that there is a neglect or refusal to maintain. Only then section 125 CrPC or 144 BNSS would come into existence. Who, number one, you refuse to maintain your wife who is unable to maintain herself, means she cannot maintain herself on her own. Second is, if you refuse or neglect to maintain your legitimate or illegitimate child, whether married or not, who is unable to maintain himself. So, for example, there is a child who is either legitimate or illegitimate. Now, child here specifically means a person who is below the age of 18 years. Okay. So that is clause B. Clause B is telling you that whether married or unmarried, if the child is not able to support himself, whether he or she is a legitimate or illegitimate child, then also the person should maintain the child. Okay. Second clause with respect to child is clause C, which says that legitimate or illegitimate child, not being a married daughter, exception here is a married daughter who has attained majority. So child who has attained majority but not a married daughter, where because of physical or mental abnormality or injury the child is unable to maintain herself or himself. Okay, the child is major, but because of physical or mental abnormality the child cannot maintain himself or herself. But if it is a married daughter, then this clause doesn't apply, because then the married daughter will fall, because she's a major married daughter, she has attained majority, that will find her place in the scope of wife. Okay, the husband would therefore be then maintaining her. Okay, now then we come to his father or mother who are unable to maintain themselves, meaning that the right of maintenance does not only extend to wife or the children, but also the parents, the elderly parents. Okay, so now this provision is not merely for women, but it is a provision which is granting the maintenance rights to all the family members, that they can claim maintenance. Okay, now one question that generally arises, I'm just touching briefly upon this question, is should daughter also be made liable to maintain the father or mother? The answer is yes. Okay, there are number of cases in which the Supreme Court has observed that the term written here, if any person, it is not just a male. Okay, it is not only a male person, but it is written as a person. So any person who also neglects to maintain his father or mother, who are unable to maintain themselves, they can also be made liable under this section. Okay, now, the question that arises is with respect to father or mother, can a daughter also be made liable? The answer is yes. Okay, Supreme Court, again, I'm reiterating the fact that Supreme Court has held it in multiple cases that even a daughter can be made liable under section 144 BNSS or 124 CrPC to maintain the parents who are unable to maintain themselves. Okay, now, but however, this is not the point of discussion today. For at least this video, we will do a separate video on this aspect. Okay, now there is a clause. Okay, there is one section. If the clause 4 is telling us in BNSS 144 that no wife shall be entitled to receive an allowance. Okay, as you can see on the screen, I have highlighted, no wife shall be entitled to receive an allowance for the maintenance or interim maintenance and expenses of proceedings from her husband under this section if she is living in adultery without any sufficient reason, or if without any sufficient reason she refuses to live with her husband, or if they are living separately by mutual consent. Now this section, what this section provides for wife is that a wife is entitled to seek maintenance, not just the maintenance, when she wins this maintenance case, but also the interim maintenance throughout the proceedings, also the expenditure of the case as well she can claim. Okay, but however, if it is found that she is in adultery, if it is found that she, without any reason, she is not cohabiting with the husband, she refuses to live with the husband, or they are both living separately on mutual consent, then in that case the maintenance could be denied. Okay, now the present case is based on this particular factum only. Okay, now the court is examining when can the court deny maintenance to a wife. Okay, so in this case, what happens? The Supreme Court on 31st July, the bench I just told you, in the case of Himanshu Chodia, the Supreme Court is saying that once the husband has established, okay, once the husband bring on record that there is adultery committed by the wife, then in that case, it can operate as a bar to interim maintenance. Okay, now what is interim maintenance? Throughout the proceedings, what happen is that the magistrate has the jurisdiction to decide the maintenance case. Magistrate also has the power to give an interim maintenance. For example, if X person files the case of maintenance against her husband Y, what court can award is that until we finally decide the final maintenance to be awarded, or we finally decide whether maintenance is to be awarded or not, there is an interim maintenance that would be made payable. Okay, now, this case is arising at the stage of interim maintenance. The court awards interim maintenance. But what the husband does in this case is husband brings the proof of adultery. Okay, husband presents certain photographs, husband presents certain, certain proves that the wife was involved in the adultery. Okay, she was having relationships outside the marriage, and the proofs were established before the court. However, court declined to intervene in the interim maintenance order and said that these grounds of adultery should be raised at the final decision stage itself, that when we are this will be considered when we are awarding final maintenance, and this will not apply in the interim maintenance. Now, the husband went before the sessions court. The husband also went before the high court, and they did not hear his plea. Now, ultimately, the husband has to appear before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court set aside the maintenance order, the interim maintenance order as well. Trial court dismissed the case, high court also dismissed the case, but the Supreme Court, pardon me, the Supreme Court set aside his order, and the Supreme Court said that this section applies on all the kinds of maintenance, whether it is final maintenance or interim maintenance. Once the evidence of adultery is brought before the court and it is ex facie established that there is adultery, okay, once husband is establishing ex facie that there is adultery committed by wife, even the maintenance can be declined at the interim stage. Okay, so if there is, this clause will apply in the case of wife if it is established that there there is adultery, that the wife is involved in adultery, or without sufficient reason she is refusing to live with the husband, or if the husband and wife both are living separately on mutual consent, if this is established, then all three of these would operate as a ground to decline the request, to decline the application of even interim maintenance. And that is what the Supreme Court is clarifying in this case. The Supreme Court allowed the appeal of the husband, and Supreme Court said that the trial court and the High Court were erroneous when they said that such provision will not apply at an interim stage and only can be taken in account at the final maintenance order. So the court set aside the lower court's order. The court allowed the appeal and made it one of the grounds on which the application for interim maintenance also can be rejected, provided that adultery is ex facie established. Ex facie established means that nobody can deny it, that there is no denial. Okay, a prudent person cannot deny it. A prudent person cannot negate the fact that adultery has happened, right? So I hope you understood the discussion. I hope you understood the section also, the judgment also. For more such videos, please stay tuned with Legal Darshan. For any more such topics for general public importance, you may please feel free to write to us so that we can cover them. Also, we have launched a CLAT UG and PG mentorship course, the details of which are given in the drop box in the description box below. Please feel free to ask any questions that may arise with respect to any of our classes, any of our lectures, or any of the ongoing courses. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day ahead.